I'm going to turn these little stumps into 5 fully fledged Monstera plants. That's right, these little leafless stumps that were destined for the Sheffield made plants bin can be rescued and turned into brand new life, and I'm going to show you the full process from stump to hipster plant in this video. It's 6 months in the making, so I hope you get something out of it. If you do, then hit me up with a like or something. Now, I have done this before with this Ficus elastica, but I wanted to see if I could do it with the world's favourite Instagrammable plant, Monstera. I mean, when we prune and cut back a Monstera, we're often left with little stem pieces like this that we'd normally throw out, but not anymore, my plant friend. Make more plants, young apprentice. The twist in this video is that I'll be using 4 different mediums to add some drama, and to see which one is best. Hint, there is a shocking winner, an abject failure, and a couple of mixed bags. Ooh, the suspense. So in the trade, these are called wet sticks. Yep, not sure why, but that's what they're called. I, like you, thought that once a stump lost all semblance of being, it was toast, but doing this job for a few years now has taught me otherwise. Don't ask me how these things stay alive though, because really I'm no scientist. I guess the leaves aren't the only place where photosynthesizing sorcery takes place. Must be some magic in the stems themselves too. Now before you go off and start hacking your Monstera to pieces, there are a couple of things that you want to make sure are in place on each stem. First, it needs to be a node. A node is a fancy term for where the leaf comes out of the stem. You'll see a line on the stem, and this is not only where leaf making magic happens, but also root making magic. And the second part is the most crucial, and failure here will mean you're just massively wasting your time. You see these little green circles or ellipses on each of the stems. These are buds and where the new stems will emerge, so we need to make sure at least one of these are intact on each stump. So don't hack into them like an ape. So, the mediums I'll be using for these bad boys. Perlite is my favourite propagating medium, so I'll be plonking 2 in a mini perlite prop box I've crudely assembled. I've absolutely no fear that these will sprout roots and leaves in no time. But will I be proved correct? Anyway, these little prop boxes are great because of the humidity trapping lid and all the air that gets into the nooks and crannies of the perlite, a recipe for root making deliciousness. I'll plonk another one in a glass of water, one in leca, which is basically little balls of hardened clay, and the last one straight into soil. No one propagates in soil for some reason, but it's my hunch that maybe it's the best option. Sure, you don't get to spy on the progress, but the beauty of soil is that there's no tinkering needed. No need for transplanting and all the potential shock that can cause. Once it's in, done deal. Now I mentioned that this video is 6 months in the making. As it's May as I'm putting this video together, this means I started this project at the beginning of winter. Not a great time to start something like this because winter in Sheffield is a glum experience. The sun only comes out to say hello for 8 hours a day and all my plants suffer the consequences. This is why I popped these fellas under my Sansi grow lights. To be honest, even if it was summer, I'd probably do the same. Things just seem to propagate so much quicker under grow lights. Must be the control you can exert over your little misters. And I use my 15% discount off Sansi when getting this clip-on light, and you can too by following the link in the description. So what do you think? Now is the time to give me and all your peers your prediction in the comments. Will leca rise to the top, or will perlite remain unbeaten all season? Maybe soil, the underdog, will be a surprise shout for top 4. My money is on perlite to show roots and leaves the quickest. Never lets me down. Before we go back to the future, let me just quickly point you in the direction of my free Plant Parents Troubleshooting Handbook that you can download by following the link in the description or scanning the QR code here. It covers all the common nasties we experience as plant parents, why they happen and what to do about it, in an easily digestible digital handbook, and it's completely for free. Check it out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now 4 weeks later. This is exactly the time when you'd expect to see some action, and it looks like nothing is showing itself on the soil one. Just some algae, which is always a pleasant addition to any experiment. Nothing rearing its not so ugly head in leca either. Now I'm searching my computer, but I don't have any footage of the perlite for some reason. Must just mean nothing was happening, which is a surprise. But what's this? Is that a cheeky little root I see on the water wet stick? Phew, this hasn't all just been some massive waste of time. I've got some success with at least one stump, and that's the bare minimum. If you do want to revise your predictions in the comments, then now's the time to do so because we're jumping ahead to week 7. Thank you, Marty. I mean Richard. This is footage from an exclusive update video I did for the Sheffies over on Patreon. Well, if you sign up to my Patreon, you get to see behind the scenes exclusives that can't be seen anywhere else, which is why they're exclusives, I guess. Anyway, details in the description if you're interested. Now, things are hotting up nicely, and not all for the right reasons. As you can see, the soil wet stick is showing me up to be the fool. No action whatsoever, but then who knows what's lurking below the surface. Maybe there's a massive root network ready to pop out the first leaf of the project. Let's check in on that water root. Not looking too shabby, is it? That one root has grown longer and she's got a friend. Bless. I'm not talking about the algae either. And look, the bud is starting to swell a little too, so a leaf should be emerging anytime soon. Yay! And Mr. Lecker? Not much happening here. No signs of any roots, but the leaf bud is swelling a little. That browning on the bottom is looking a little suspicious though, which is why I give it a little trim. The last thing any propagation wants is rot taking hold. But I wonder why that's happening. One to watch for sure. And what of the perlite? We've not seen anything from these yet. Well, it looks like I was proven sort of correct because we do have roots, or root anyway. And they always look nice and healthy in perlite. Must be because they're actually growing into something and not suspended in water with only algae for friends. Let's check the other one. Ooh, look at the bud. The head is popping out to say hello, so to speak. I'll be a father for the 100th time in no time. I'm so proud. It is a bit weird that the leaf has come before the root, to be honest, but I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. If you know why this happens, then do let me know. It's week 9 now, and we have a shocking development. Well, I think it is anyway. The first leaf has sprouted, and it's not from perlite or water. No, it's soil. So who had that down as first to show life? Now be honest. Soil really doesn't get the credit it deserves in the propagation world. All those folks propping in fancy perlite prop boxes, present company not excluded, and water, and most of the time soil is perfectly fine, if not better. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's see how things progress. It's week 10, ladies and gentlemen, and tragedy has struck the Sheffield Bay Plants household. Our first casualty is Mr. Lecker Wetstick. Look at the state of him, the poor fella. The worst way to go. I was worried when I had to trim off his bottom in week 7, and it looks like there was no saving him. And I don't get it, to be honest. Was it the lecker or just bad luck? A pathogen getting into that stem but not the others. Very odd. Alright then folks, we're at week 17 now. Time flies when you're having wet stick fun. And look at soil wet stick. A new leaf is just starting to emerge. Monsteras really are slow growers, aren't they? 7 weeks for this, maddening. Not sure why the original leaf is still not fully opened. And look at the state of the water wet stick. I can barely see it because of all the algae. Light, plant and water are really not a match made in heaven. The roots are a bit longer, but still no sign of that leaf bud swelling. I give her tons of light, so I'm not really sure what she's waiting for. And I'm not too happy with the colour of her bottom. Suspiciously brown like the Lecker wet stick. But just look at how excited Mr. Perlite wet stick is to see us. So excited he's busting out of his lunchbox. I'm still waiting for his brother to show us his package, but he does at least have some roots, so I'm sure it will come. I didn't even mean that innuendo. Let's move on. Right then my plant friend, it's now a massive 11 weeks after the last update and I bet you're dying to see the progress made. This is week 28 of the entire project. Surely they're big beautiful plants by now. Well, not so much. Like I said, Monsteras sure are slow growers, and it's going to take years for me to get my first fenestrated leaf, and I've not got the mental capacity to put together a video that spans years. Anyway, I digress. Which one do you think is furthest along then? Yep, I think the soil wet stick is the champ. She's got one full leaf, that first decrepit leaf, and another one on the way. In second place is perlite number 1. Now I moved the perlite ones to pots because they were outgrowing the tray they called home. Perlite number 1 has a decent leaf and I'm still waiting for a second to emerge. Yep, absolutely no sign so far. We're still waiting for perlite number 2 to make his move. Pulling him out and checking out his private parts and we can see there are nice long roots and the bud is swelling. So it will come, just more patience is required. You might be thinking that the Lecker wet stick miraculously came back to life, but this is actually the water one. The water kept drying out too quickly, so I moved her into Lecker to keep her stable and let her hold on to moisture. But I'm not sure why I did that based on how fast the original Lecker one went downhill. This gal was the first to show any sign of anything with that tiny root, and it's been a slow journey since. And I'm not too keen on how that bud is looking. What do you think? So basically, as it stands, we have 2 successes, 1 abject failure, and 2 where the jury is still very much out. My hunch on why this has been so mixed is because I started at the beginning of winter. I'll keep nursing these bad boys for the next few months or so, and I'll do an update video to show you how things are looking, so subscribe to look out for that. In the meantime, check out this video here where I show you how to 3x the growth of your Monstera. See you next time.